Namaskar and welcome back. Ever since the Gen Z revolt in our neighbor Kathmandu, there has been a concerted effort both by political parties and various activists questioning why India's Gen Z or our youth is not rising in revolt like Dhaka or Kathmandu or even Sri Lanka. A lot of them have also made statements calling for India's youth to rise up against the current government. So, is there a deliberate provocation on India's youth to rise up in revolt? Who are the powers who want to force this? And most importantly, is India's youth even interested in armed or street revolt? That is what we are going to discuss on Media Scan this evening. And for that, we have a special panel of guests with us. But before that, a quick report.
A political war of words was triggered when leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi called India's students and the Gen Z to join his so-called vote chori campaign. His post was followed by a massive social media campaign questioning India's youth for not coming out on the streets. BJP leaders called it a deliberate attempt to provoke India's youth towards anarchy. The reference to Gen Z was seen as an attempt to push for a redo of Nepal and Bangladesh, where youth uprisings forced a violent regime change. In the past, Rahul Gandhi has made various statements both in India and abroad, which were construed as deliberately provoking a street uprising against the Modi government. Meanwhile, open source platforms have been showing evidences of foreign powers involved in provoking these sudden regime changes in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and now Nepal. As Rahul Gandhi was often seen teaming up with notorious anti-India elements in his trips and yatras, the question whether some powers are trying hard to engineer a regime change in India has become relevant once again.
So, with that quick report, let me take you to our guest for this evening. I have here with me senior journalist editor Aditi Tandon. She has been a Congress and UPA observer for a long time, covering them for many years. Welcome, Aditi.
Thank you.
And also joining us, Alok Bansal, geopolitical expert, author. You have been listening to him on Media Scan on various occasions. Welcome, sir. And another senior journalist, R. Rajgopalan, known to speak his mind clearly, has had a broad career covering all major political parties of the country. And if I may come to Aditi quickly. Aditi, we have all seen Mr. Rahul Gandhi's post, where he particularly mentioned Gen Z while he was talking about his vote chori, the political campaign. Now that has led to a flood of reactions, and people are saying, is this deliberately an attempt to provoke India's youth to come out on the streets? And could it mean that Rahul Gandhi has no faith left in the system of the ballot?
See, Smita ji, this is a very important and a very intense political debate going on right now, and everybody is trying to understand where Mr. Gandhi is coming from. On the surface of what he says, it appears that he is raising issues with respect to, malpractices in the electoral process.
Right.
Also, if you look at his tweet that you were mentioning yesterday, on the surface, prima facie, there seems to be no major difficulty with what he's saying. But when you go to the subtext of the tweet, there is obviously a sort of, I would say dog whistling to the larger Gen Z generation to come out on the streets, to actually find common cause with Mr. Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party on the issue of special intensive revision of electoral rolls. So it is not such a simple post. It is actually directly addressed to the youth of the country. And what is problematic is that it comes right on the close on the heels of what we have seen in Kathmandu, very violent protests. If you go into the subtext, the nuance of the statement, it is not a normal political leader saying it. It is not some Congress party spokesperson saying it. It is the leader of the opposition in the directly elected house of the people.
Correct.
So it is not so simple, nor can it be taken on face value. So he wants the Gen Z generation to associate with him on this large issue that he's raising of alleged voter theft, and he's actually asking them to espouse his cause and come out on the streets and be sort of foot soldiers for the Congress party. That's what he's saying.
So clearly he wants people to come out on the streets, whether it is a political campaign or regardless of the campaign. Allow me to come to R. Rajgopalan here. Sir, the other thought that is being questioned by a lot of people is, why is BJP or any other political party getting so riled by the term Gen Z? And what is wrong if the leader of opposition or any political leader wants to call the youth to associate with his political campaign? I mean, that is how our politics has been running, isn't it? So the moot question was, is BJP overreacting to Rahul Gandhi's comment?
My understanding, Geeta ji, Rahul Gandhi is a senior leader. 20 years he has been in parliament. And he understands the geopolitics because he has traveled more than 300 times all over the world and understood what the other systems are. Therefore, we have to give him a lot of importance, whatever he has been speaking. But I have one clarity from his 10-year speech, I would like to say. He has been concentrating, Geeta ji, on negative aspects. And, the way in which 2014, 19, 24 election results have come out to decimate the Congress and also the leadership of Sonia, Rahul, Priyanka. Therefore, he gets some sort of, vituperative, violent attitude. He cannot see Narendra Modi in the Prime Minister's seat. Therefore, in the past 10 years, Geeta ji, according to the media reports, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has been speaking about the fire. In the parliament, he said about the fire. When he was in foreign country, he said about ek mitti ka tel chitka madenge aag lag jayegi. And he said about earthquake. He said about hydrogen bomb. He said about bombshell. And sometimes he says about pistol. Prime Minister ko youth danda se marunga. Gen Z chhod dijiye. In the last general election speech, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, leader of opposition, had gone violent and said, students will beat Mr. Narendra Modi with danda. Prime Minister also replied in the floor of the house, saying that मैं सूर्य नमस्कार करूंगा, ये डंडा खाने के लिए 6 महीने से मैं प्रयत्न करूंगा, like that. So therefore his mindset is negative. That is why the Gen Z has come out in his tweet. And vote chori campaign, election commission has clarified. Geeta ji, yesterday some media reports, including Indian Express and some other southern Indian newspapers, regional papers, have reported, Geeta ji, other panelists might have read it, Bansal Saab and Aditya, etc. They should also understand that Congress is divided within the system. 4 or 5 working committee members said...
Okay, sir, Rajgopalan sir, I'll come to that. Please hold your thought. We'll come into that. Allow me to bring in... Yes, please complete your point.
Bansal Saab wait करेंगे. मेरा request है. Because I don't want to lose the thread. Therefore, Mr. Rahul Gandhi's mindset, he wants to create Sri Lanka, he wants to create Bangladesh, he wants to create Nepal in India because his political party called Congress, the Grand Old Party, is dead.
Okay, so you do believe that this was deliberate. It was not just making a message to the youth. It was provocative. I want to come to Alok Bansal here.
It is intentional. Sir, it is intentional.
Yes. Allow me to speak to Mr. Bansal.
He wants to keep India under fire. That is why.
Yes, Mr. Rajgopalan, we have taken your point. Allow me to ask Mr. Bansal also. So let us move away from the political commentary. Let us move away from the political commentary for a second. And I want to understand from Mr. Alok Bansal, Sir, as of now, if we look, in the recent past, India is standing like one beacon of stability, growth, economic prosperity at a time when the entire subcontinent is being riled by political protests. There are violent coups happening, regime changes overnight. Do you think India's position as a stable, forward-looking, progressive nation is becoming a cause of heartburn for certain powers? Who do you think wants India's youth to come out on the streets?
See, firstly, we need to be very clear that what started in Sri Lanka, moved to Bangladesh, and now we have seen in Nepal,
Yes.
is a very complex dynamics. And we need to understand in all these three countries, there were underlying causes which had actually led to discontentment amongst youth.
Yes.
But having said that, there were external powers which actually funded the movements, which allowed the youth to organize themselves and topple the governments. And the manner in which it was done was extremely brutal, chaotic, and very, very disruptive. It has actually derailed the economies of all three countries for a short while.
True.
In Sri Lanka, we saw a dynamic leader come up and restore Sri Lanka back on rails. But Bangladesh is still suffering, and Nepal is way beyond to go, actually. Nepal, which has been one of the poorest countries in Asia, is suffering a lot. I really don't know how the new government will do. But please understand, in India's case, such a thing is not possible. Firstly, overwhelming majority of Indians are very happy with the government. But even more importantly, there is a systemic checks and balances in India. We have a judiciary which is extremely independent. We have a functioning federal system which actually allows different viewpoints to get political space in different parts of India. And
Yes.
as a result, that sort of a nationwide movement which we saw in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, or Nepal is not feasible. So I think anybody who talks of disruption, I think is not interested in India's growth, because such disruptions, as we have seen in Nepal, cause huge damage.
Sir,
We saw
a
that
quick
in
query here.
Bangladesh also.
A quick query here. It is,
Yeah.
while it is true that our electoral democracy, our constitutional system has very solid foundations, we have seen in recent years that, as you know, we are a very diverse country with a very multi-layered society. And, there are many social, religious, regional fault lines. There is a deliberate attempt to fan those fault lines in order to create mistrust. That definitely is a concern, or don't you think?
See, there is actually an attempt at this point of time to create problems for India, and that's very clearly visible. Now, you saw what happened yesterday. Chabahar port, which had been given an exemption, has been done away with. India's actual economic relationship with Eurasian heartland has virtually been cut off. We have seen Pakistan and Saudi Arabia defense pact, a mutual defense treaty, which actually shows a very, very serious threat to India's security. And now today we have seen H-1B visas have become a big issue, because I think all these are trying to target India in some way or the other. And please understand, all these three countries, that is Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Nepal, while there were underlying causes for the discontentment, there were funds that were actually routed from some countries, some Western countries, which actually funded the movement against the established governments, which led to this sort of an anarchy. So we need to be very clear as to what happened,
So
why it
what
happened.
can we do to prevent such designs being targeted on our country is something I would like to know from you more. But quickly allow me to come to Aditi back here. Aditi, there is one thing, if Rahul Gandhi indeed, as you indicated, wants to provoke India's youth to come out on the street, to rise up in revolt, he did get a reality check from DUSU, don't you think? Which is a campus where students from all over the country come to study, not just the national capital. And the performance of his party's youth wing is something that has really, it should be crestfallen for the party. But the Congress is arguing that how can you take the results of DUSU, where only a few lakh people vote, in order to, as a sample for the whole of the country. Where do you think the party stands?
See, on your first point about Rahul Gandhi's provocation to the Gen Z, On one point, I would like to say that any political leader in his position would obviously use any narrative available to him to mobilize the larger population or part of the population after his party.
No, fair
That's
enough.
his legitimate right. But you know, there is a problem in the timing of what he's saying. There's also a problem in the subtext, as I earlier said.
Yes.
But a political leader has a legitimate right to raise issues in respect of where he wants to take his constituents, because he is short of issues. The bigger problem with the Congress is the dearth of political issues to take on the Prime Minister Narendra Modi led government. You will see that they have jumped from issue to issue, Smitaji. Their biggest issue earlier was what? Their biggest issue was EVM. EVM did not succeed.
But they are not talking of the AVM anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. The problem is not with the issue, the problem is with the way you move from one issue to another, unable to take any issue to a logical conclusion, thereby making the constituents who might want to actually vote for you question your intentions. I'm talking of that nuance in what Rahul Gandhi is trying to do. There's no problem in what he's doing. The problem is the issue of credibility in what he's doing. Do people believe him? Now to your next point of DUSU elections, of course, you know, NSUI had won that post of DUSU president after a gap of 7 years last year, and it was a huge celebration for the Congress party, obviously for the right reasons. Now they have the ABVP, which is the RSS linked student body, has won it back. They won 3 out of 4 seats, and the entire BJP ecosystem, I was looking at the comments that were coming yesterday, they were all saying, they were linking it with the Gen Z now. Because Rahul Gandhi's comments had come in the morning, in the afternoon, and after which the results came.
So do you think this is coincidence that the results happen to come on that day, or do you think it reflects the youth's direction?
See, I would say it is a pattern, Smitaji, because I would also like to put in here that the Punjab University student elections happened last month, and the ABVP took the president's post after a gap of 3 decades.
Yes.
So this is some sort of a pattern which the student body of the Congress will need to take seriously. Political parties will have to sit down on the drawing table and understand the sentiment of the constituents. I think the problem right now with the Congress party is they lack issues that have an emotional appeal with the larger population in order to get the people to vote for them. So right now it is an experimental stage.
But they have tried to make the vote chori into a very, emotional kind of issue by saying people that you are being rid of your voting right. But coming back to Mr. Rajgopalan, sir, Aditi has reminded us about Punjab University, which was actually the bigger news compared to DUSU, because it is one campus where ABVP had never won an election for decades. Coming back to DUSU elections, do you think this tells us where the youth of the country is going? What is its thinking? And Rahul Gandhi's previous programs, previous events, yatras, foreign gatherings, all of them have shown that he has not been shy of associating with people both here and abroad who have a distinct anti-India, anti-national line of thinking and activism. Do you think these issues are related? Does it mean he is pushing for regime change? Or there are people who are using him to do it?
There are people who are using, even in the Rajya Sabha, Geetaji, there was a debate on Soros.
Yes.
Mr. J.P. Nadda vehemently attacked Madam Sonia Gandhi, who was not present in the house at that time. Coming to the point, as Madam Aditi has mentioned about Punjab elections, the students are very happy with the government. The ABVP is sweeping in almost all the regions. Especially, I will also give you an interesting anecdote. In Karnataka, 1 month before, in student selection, ABP won. So therefore, if you have a sample survey, almost the places, students are for Narendra Modi, not for regime change. Second thing, those who are covering Congress, they know very well, like Aditi, and you and me also covered Congress for ages, not yesterday, today. मेरा बाल सफेद हो गया कांग्रेस में करके करके.
मेरा भी हो गया सर.
वो नहीं ठीक है. वो जो मेरा point ये है, Mr. Rahul Gandhi does not consult his working committee members one working committee member openly confessed with me that every year we have 3 elections. Every year we have defections from Congress. Every year Narendra Modi is winning, every year we are losing. And next month there is an election in Bihar. And 2 months later, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and West Bengal. Therefore, economy and also the political strength of public voting style and the elections are true democratic. You can't say the one nation, one poll is also towards the achieving certain goals.
Yes.
These things Mr. Rahul Gandhi does not understand. He is living in the Twitter world. That is what Ghulam Nabi Azad said. It's not my word. Ghulam Nabi Azad said that Rahul Gandhi should come out of the social media and work for the social welfare and upliftment. Therefore, the advisors of Mr. Rahul Gandhi are all urban Naxals. इसीलिए तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने भी मंच से बोला था, पार्लियामेंट में बोल रहे, आपको पैर को नीचे जमीन फिसल रहा है, देखो सही. India needs a strong opposition, not like this violence, not like this manipulative. Now, coming to one simple point, Mr. Rahul Gandhi needs some sort of help. Someone should advise him, a tall leader like Pranab Mukherjee, or though no one is here. Instead, my only advice through media scan, because I have been covering Congress for many years, my only suggestion is Mr. Rahul Gandhi should consult a doctor.
That's a harsh comment, sir.
No, it's not harsh comment. He needs a help. He needs some sort of help so that, his articulation is properly, teamed up. Because he is under the influence of left and, Congress-ridden urban Naxals, that is why his word fire.
Okay,
I counted Geetaji, 18 times he used in 1 year. Fire, fire, fire. What does it mean? In his mindset, that is Bhukam. Any political leader in India has said,
yes, we have been monitoring those comments. There is a distinct provocative tinge in it, both in India and abroad. Allow me, sir, I have very little time left on the show. I must come back to Mr. Bansal for a moment. Alokji, I'd like to give you the last word, sir. We were talking about, how some foreign powers are utilizing or trying to, provoke the fault lines in our society, social or regional. But more importantly, there are political parties for various reasons who would be ready to play into their hands. And what is happening today? Are you worried that there is a fear that there will be more concerted efforts to incite our youth to rise into rebellion, even though the youth is not too interested in it? How do you see it playing out geopolitically?
See, firstly, we should be very clear, as long as the society is unified, and we need to take the society together. We need to bridge the fault lines. I don't think so any attempt by any foreign power or any domestic disruptors will succeed. Having said that, I have always said that India's constitution, India's basic structure has a lot of inbuilt safeguards. We have had an independent judiciary which has acted as a bulwark against any unilateral expansion of power by any particular institutions. There may be certain debate on that. But even more importantly, we have had a reasonably functional federal system that allows other political thoughts, other ideologies space, which was not available in countries like Bangladesh, which does not have a federal structure, and in countries like Sri Lanka and Nepal, which does not have an effective federal system. Though in name they have become federation, but the provincial governments have virtually no powers and no resources.
But
so
sir,
that's why there has been
if certain political parties keep questioning and raising doubts about the entire electoral system, do you think that may be a problem?
Well, that would be a problem, that could be a problem, but we have a judicial recourse actually. We have a judiciary which can provide you some sort of a remedial measures. In fact, judiciary has in the past done it. In fact, it has taken some sample constituencies where VVPATs have been counted, and actually it has proved that what is the figure has actually tied up with that. And whatever I have understood that EVMs are totally tamper-proof. And with that sort of a situation, I don't think so there is a problem. The country needs a healthy opposition. Unfortunately, with Rahul Gandhi's leadership, Congress party has only weakened. I'm not trying to say that he's a bad man or whatever it is, but he probably doesn't know how to lead a political party.
Right.
And Congress,
Also,
which has
what
a large
Aditi
number of
said.
intellectuals, has not been able to actually present an alternative viewpoint to the nation, which keeps the country together and which actually takes the country forward, which should have been the ideally the point which the Congress had propagated.
Fine. Point taken, sir. But I am afraid with that comment, we'll have to bring an end to this conversation. It has been very helpful and for us to understand what is going on in the country with the help of all three of you here. Mr. Rajgopalan, Mr. Bansal, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. And Aditi Tandon, always so gracious to join us. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So, as our guests have pointed out, India's electoral foundations, our democratic credentials are solid. No one easily can try to shake our faith in our democracy. And whenever a change, political or otherwise, happens in our country, it will always be through the ballot. On that note, it's a wrap up on Media Scan. But do join us next weekend. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.